Okay, happy Friday, guys. This is for blocks 3 and 4. For cohort A, it'll be April 29, and for cohort B, it'll happen on May 6, but it's the same ACT lesson. This assignment will be due for 25 points 1 week after. So I'm going to write that here. Cohort A, it will be due on May 6, and cohort B, it will be due on May 13. You should be able to get this done. I am going to have you fill out a checkout form by the end of this so that I can see where you are. So, you guys will have an online document that looks like this. It says Q4 SY16, ACT Prep Week 3 and Week 4. I'm just printing this out on paper so that I can have it in the document so you guys can watch. So, together we're going to annotate the first passage. You are not answering any ACT questions this week. All we are going to do is we're going to annotate this passage. So, is there a graph or a table in this passage, in passage 1? I see figure 1, I see figure 2, and if I flip the page, I see figure 3. So that means I'm going to fill this out for 3 graphs. So, right here, I'm going to go to figure 1. Here, I'll go to figure 2. Then I'll flip this over in the back for figure 3. So, the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through and I'm going to annotate this on its own, and then I'm going to come back and do the worksheet once I've done that. So, figure 1, I'm going to tell myself what these are. So here I just see a pigeon in a cage, but I don't know what that is yet, and I don't really need to. Okay, now I'm going to look at figure 1. So figure 1 shows me days. That's my independent variable because it's on the x-axis and my unit is in days. And then this is my percent correct. Figure 2 shows me my percent correct, which is my dV. And then my magnification, which is my IV. So how they saw it, and then here I need to know original and I need to know rotated. And then the unit here is the time for magnification. So how many times bigger it was made. Now here, my last one, my dV is still percent correct, and now here it's compression. And my unit is a ratio. Okay, so that's my figures. So now I'm going to look for any trends that I have. So if I go here, it looks like for all of these, they're going in this direction. So that means that I'm going to write this in a sentence. As days increase, percent correct also increases. Now here, with the magnification, because this is a bar graph, oh yeah, so I'm going to write that line, bar, here. So the thing that I can notice here in this bar graph, the pattern, is that rotated decreases percent correct. So that's my pattern for that one. Now here, we can look at it here too, because all of those numbers were pretty comparable. So this one is a bar graph. So that increased slightly, increased more, and increased more. So these numbers aren't super different, so I can't, although they are a little bit lower, it does go this way. So I can write, in general, as compression increases this way, so as we increase this way, the overall percent correct decreases, but it's not by much. But what I can say with almost 100% certainty is that differential increases percent correct. Now I don't know what any of these graphs mean yet because I haven't read the passage, but that's okay. So now that I've annotated these, I'm going to go back to my worksheet. You'll be doing this at the same time, but I can only show you one at a time in the frame. So here, my independent variable on figure 1, first off, that was a linear graph. My figure 2 was a flat lines graph because it was bar, and figure 3 was flat lines. So this one, I'm just going to work backwards so I don't have to flip, was compression, and it was in a ratio, and I know that because it's my x-axis. Percent correct. Then I'm going to write the trend that I wrote. So as compression increases, percent correct decreases. And you can write it like that. And I'm also going to say differential increases, percent correct. Okay, figure 2, my independent variable was my magnification in times. This was still percent correct, as it was for all of them. And percent is a unit, so you can write it like that. And then this one was the day, and the unit itself was days, so we can just write that. Now, this one was as days increase, percent correct increases. And this one, there was no trend, but it did say rotated decrease the percent correct. So rotation equals bad, because I'm assuming that we want a higher percent correct. All right, that's my first part of the graph annotation. Now, if I said no, or, so I'm going to fix that. If I said no, or, additionally, now we're going to look at these. Is there an experiment? Is it fighting scientists? So, I'm going to look up here. The first thing that I see is researchers examine the possibility of using pigeons as visual observers of breast cancer tumors. So that looks to me like an experiment. And what else looks to me like it has an experiment in it is it says experiment 1 and experiment 2. Now I'm going to go back and forth between using highlighter and the green pen, mostly because I think it's more fun, but you don't need to do this to get full credit. So these are the things that I need to look for here in experiment 1. So objective of the experiment, what are they trying to determine? So I can see here that researchers want to see if pigeons can see cancer. That's my summary of that. It doesn't have to be super great. Now, how is the research being done? So there's 2 experiments here, so I'm going to divide this line in half. So I have number 1 and number 2. So I know it's not fighting scientists, so I'm going to ignore that. All right, this says, and I'm going through this, 8 pigeons were trained to discern the difference between images of benign and malignant tumors. So I need to know that there were 8 pigeons. They were trained in a closed chamber with continuous white noise, a food pellet dispenser, and a touchscreen for pecking. Each pigeon received a food pellet only if its response was correct. They were daily over a period of 15 days, 48 images at 3 different magnification, 144 images. Their progress is shown in figure 1. Then the pigeons were tested using the original 144 and 24 rotated images. So this is new at the end. So then experiment 2. 8 new pigeons were trained, benign and malignant tumors, under different reward systems and at different image compressions. They were trained in the same environment, except that half the birds were non-differentially reinforced, so food pellets all the time. And then some were differential, means received food pellet only if their response was correct. A period of 15 days, using 48 images, 24, 48 original, 24